Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever reached a point in your life where you should have broken, but you didn't? You cried, but you kept going. You were tired, but you showed up. You felt alone, but you held your head high anyway. That's not weakness. That's the kind of strength heaven responds to. His message is not for everybody. This is for the woman who's been through the fire and didn't get burned. For the woman who's carried weight in silence while building strength in secret. Stay with me because I'm about to break down 7 heavenly signs that you are not only strong, you're about to be blessed. And if you've seen even one of these signs, then what's coming next will change your life. Have you ever looked around and realized that the chaos you're standing in should have broken you by now, but somehow you're still standing? I mean, real chaos, life spinning like a storm, people walking out, things falling apart that you couldn't control, and yet there's this quiet inside you, this unexplainable stillness. It's not that you're smiling all day, it's not that you don't feel the weight, but it's as if your soul has been anchored in something deeper. That's not normal. That's not ordinary. That's divine. See, when a blessing is on the horizon, heaven doesn't announce it with trumpets. It starts with a shift inside you. Before things look different, you feel different. Before your circumstances change, your spirit levels up. That unshakable peace in the middle of the storm, it's a sign, a powerful one. Because real peace, the kind that makes no sense, is never man-made. It's not manufactured by positive thinking or motivational quotes. It's a gift, a divine whisper that says, hold on, something's coming. When everything around you is loud and messy and painful, but your spirit doesn't flinch, that's spiritual maturity, that's strength in its highest form. Strong women don't always roar. Sometimes they're silent. Sometimes their strength shows in their ability to sit still while everything around them demands panic. And that kind of stillness, that's not weakness. That's alignment. That's what happens when your soul knows something your eyes can't see yet. And I want you to understand this clearly, that peace is your sign. Because the enemy doesn't bother what isn't valuable. Storms don't show up in empty places. If you're being hit hard, it's because you're carrying something heavy, purpose, power, destiny. And if you're able to stand in the eye of that storm without breaking, it means you're closer than you think. Peace in chaos is not just a survival mechanism. It's confirmation. It means heaven has already made the decision to elevate you, and now it's just aligning the pieces. You're not guessing anymore. You're not second-guessing yourself or begging anyone to see your worth. You've stepped into a place where your spirit knows you're made for more, even if your life hasn't caught up yet. You're calm because deep down you understand this isn't your final chapter. You're not reacting the way you used to because you've grown. You've seen too much, felt too much, fought through too much to let temporary storms rattle your permanent identity. And that calm, it's a reflection of faith, real faith, the kind that doesn't need evidence to believe, the kind that walks through fire and doesn't smell like smoke. Let me tell you something powerful. Peace doesn't mean the storm disappears. Peace means you've outgrown it. Peace means you become so rooted in your purpose that external chaos doesn't throw you off course anymore. That's how you know you're ready for what's next. And if you're feeling that peace right now, even when things are falling apart on paper, don't question it, embrace it. That's not delusion, that's clarity. It's heaven letting you know that the battle is already won. You're just walking it out now. You ever notice how quiet it gets before a storm breaks? That eerie calm that feels unnatural? That's what it feels like right before the blessing hits. That's what it feels like when you're standing right on the edge of breakthrough. You're not being numb, You're being fortified. You're being sealed with a kind of strength that doesn't need applause, doesn't need recognition. It just is. And people might not understand you right now. They'll look at your life, see what you've been through, and wonder how you're so composed. They'll try to figure out why you're not complaining, why you're not breaking down. They don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel, because you're watching your situation, but you're listening to your spirit. There's a reason strong women are often misunderstood. Your silence makes people nervous. Your calm makes them question. But don't explain yourself. Don't shrink to fit into their confusion. You've earned this peace. You've bled for it. You've cried for it. You've gone through seasons of heartbreak and disappointment just to get to this place. And now you're finally still. Not because life is perfect, but because your soul knows something your mind is just now catching up to. It's coming, it's near, the blessing is already in motion. So don't be fooled by the storm. Don't mistake the chaos for a curse. When you feel peace in the middle of a mess, that's not an accident. That's not just resilience, it's revelation. It means you're aligned. It means the blessing has already been released and your spirit got the memo before your eyes did. This peace you're feeling, this calm that doesn't make sense, hold on to it. It's sacred. It's rare. And it's proof that heaven hasn't forgotten about you. You're not behind. You're not stuck. You're not overlooked. You're being positioned. And when it shows up, when that blessing drops, you'll look back and realize the peace was your first confirmation, and you knew it all along. Something strange starts to happen when you're on the verge of something bigger, and at first it feels like a loss. Suddenly, the doors that were once wide open begin to shut. The people who used to call don't. The opportunities that used to flow with ease now vanish into silence. And if you're not careful, you'll take it personal. You'll think something's wrong with you. But let me tell you something that'll set you free. Those closed doors are not a sign of failure. They're a signal of divine redirection. When you're a strong woman being prepared for a blessing, life starts moving differently around you. It's not punishing you, it's positioning you. You start noticing that what used to satisfy you now leaves you empty. What used to work now feels forced. People you used to connect with suddenly feel distant. You're not cursed. You're being cleared. Because here's the truth. Not every door that opens is meant for you. Some of those doors lead to distraction. Some lead to delay. And some, if you had walked through them, would have led you away from the version of yourself you were born to become. So what feels like rejection is often protection. You think you're being shut out, but you're actually being shielded. Blessings require space. They require clarity. And you can't receive what's meant for you when your hands are full of what's not. So those closed doors, that's heaven making room. That's life pulling away everything that no longer serves you so that you don't miss what truly belongs to you. And I get it, it hurts. You were excited about that opportunity. You invested time in that relationship. You believed in that path. But sometimes the blessing isn't in what opens up, it's in what closes. Because if that door had stayed open, it would have kept you stuck in a version of life that was beneath your calling. Closed doors teach you to trust, not just in a higher plan, but in your own worth. They remind you that you're not here to chase, to beg, or to force. You're here to align. And when you align with what's real, what's true, what's yours, you don't need to knock. The right door opens on its own. Now, don't be surprised when people start distancing themselves during this time, when the invitations stop, when the calls go quiet. That silence is sacred. Don't try to fill it. Don't run back to the noise. You're not being excluded. You're being elevated. You're being pulled into a higher frequency, and not everyone can come with you. A strong woman will often feel lonely right before she steps into her next level. That loneliness isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the space you need to hear yourself again, to hear the voice of wisdom inside you, to reconnect with your own rhythm. You see, distractions love to hide in open doors. But when the door's shut, you're forced to pause, reflect, and grow. And maybe this is you right now. Maybe the door to that job closed, and you're questioning your value. Maybe that relationship ended, and you're wondering if you'll ever feel seen again. Maybe the dream you chased for years suddenly feels unreachable, and you're thinking of giving up. Don't you dare give up. Because what's happening isn't the end, it's the reroute. You're being taken the long way, the quiet way, the unfamiliar way, but it's the right way. And when you finally arrive at the place meant for you, you'll look back at every closed door and realize it had to happen this way. You weren't being denied. You were being protected from settling. A door closing doesn't always mean the opportunity is gone forever. Sometimes it just means not right now. Sometimes it means you still need to grow into the woman who can carry the weight of that blessing. And that takes time. That takes pruning. That takes doors shutting. So you're forced to go deeper instead of wider. The world will tell you to keep knocking, keep pushing, keep forcing, but wisdom will tell you rest, let go, trust the timing. Because when a door truly belongs to you, it doesn't require begging. It opens because you're ready. You are not a victim of rejection. You are a student of divine timing. Every no you've heard was a yes to something better. Every closed door was an answered prayer you didn't know you prayed. So stop mourning what didn't open. Stop replaying the what ifs. That door was not the final chapter. It was just a sentence in the story, and your story is still unfolding. Don't let a temporary pause make you forget the purpose that still beats in your chest. You're not lost. You're being led. You're not being ignored. You're being guided. And the woman you're becoming needs this. She needs the solitude. She needs the silence. She needs the space to rebuild. Because what's coming next is not small. It's not ordinary. It's not what you've already seen. The doors that are meant for you are being carved right now. The people you need are being prepared right now. And when the timing is right, when you're aligned, whole, healed, and ready, those doors will swing open and you won't have to force a single one. Remember this, closed doors are not the enemy. They are the signal that heaven is moving. So stand tall, strong woman. Don't panic. Don't plead. Just prepare. Because the blessing is on the other side of the silence. And it's coming. You ever feel like you're walking through a storm with no umbrella? Like the world is throwing everything it has at you. Pain, setbacks, pressure. And you're still standing. Barely, but you're standing. Let me tell you something powerful. When life feels like it's breaking you, it's actually building you. The pressure you feel right now isn't punishment, it's preparation. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And every strong woman destined for greatness goes through this phase. Diamonds don't come out of the earth looking like treasure. They start as carbon, just black, dirty rock. But then pressure is applied, unimaginable pressure and heat and isolation and time. That's what transforms it. That's what gives it its brilliance. You're the same way. The pain you feel isn't there to destroy you. It's crafting you. It's forcing you to find strength you didn't even know you had. A woman who's about to be blessed doesn't walk an easy road. No, she walks the road with weight, with responsibility, with emotional battles most people couldn't even comprehend. But here's what separates you. You keep walking. Even when your knees buckle, even when your heart aches, even when the people you love most walk away, you keep moving forward because something inside of you knows you weren't built to break. That weight you're carrying, that's not failure. That's the evidence that something powerful is forming. And I know it's heavy. You're tired of being the strong one, tired of smiling when you're hurting, tired of pretending to be okay when you're crying in silence. But strength isn't pretending. Strength is standing in the fire and refusing to let it burn away your purpose. So when it feels like you're being tested beyond your limits, remember, there's a reason. Growth never feels good. Transformation isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. The strong woman you're becoming is being sharpened in silence. You're not being punished for being strong. You're being trusted with more. And when you're being trusted with more, life will test your foundation. Are you really ready for what you've been praying for? Can you handle the weight of that next level? Can you rise when everything around you says fall? That's what this pressure is about. It's not about breaking you down. It's about showing you who you really are. There's a version of you on the other side of this storm that's stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you can imagine. But you won't meet her in comfort. You'll meet her in the battle. You'll meet her when you're standing in front of the mirror, eyes red but voice steady, saying, I'm not giving up. So don't let the pressure lie to you. Don't let the pain convince you that this is the end. It's not. This is the middle. This is the part where the foundation is being reinforced. This is the part where your resilience is being carved. This is the part where you discover what you're really made of. Not everyone will understand it. People will look at you and wonder how you're still standing. They won't see the nights you cried yourself to sleep. They won't see the inner battles you fought alone. They won't see the strength it takes to keep going. But that's okay. They don't need to. This is between you and the journey, between you and the calling, between you and the promise that you are not going through all of this for nothing. You don't get to your next level on accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You grow into it, and growth hurts. It stretches you. It asks you to release the old version of you, the one who settled, the one who doubted, the one who played small. That version can't go with you. The blessing that's coming has no space for fear, no room for weakness, no patience for self-pity. It needs the woman you're becoming through this pressure. And I'll tell you something even deeper. The more pressure you feel, the more powerful the outcome. The greater the resistance, the greater the reward. So don't curse the process. Don't rush it. Don't ask to be rescued from the pain. Learn from it. Stand in it. Let it mold you. Because the strongest women are not born from comfort. They're born from chaos. You might feel like your life is in pieces, but you're not falling apart. You're falling into place. It's not the end, it's the beginning of something divine. The blessing that's meant for you doesn't come gift-wrapped in ease. It comes through fire. And you're walking through that fire right now, and still you rise. You rise when they count you out. You rise when they betray you. You rise when everything in you says stay down, and yet you rise. That's the kind of strength the world can't teach. That's the kind of strength life has to forge. And that's the kind of strength that makes you unstoppable. So when the nights get long and the burden feels too heavy, remind yourself this pressure has purpose. You're being shaped, not shattered. You're being refined, not rejected. And the version of you that comes out of this storm, She's not just surviving, she's unstoppable. The blessing is coming, but so is the woman who's ready to carry it. Keep walking, keep pushing, keep becoming. You're almost there. There's something sacred about a woman who chooses peace over noise. In a world where everyone's yelling to be heard, proving their worth with every post, every argument, every response, there's something unshakable about the woman who steps back and chooses silence. It's not weakness, it's not fear, it's power. And when you begin to protect your peace, truly protect it, that's a sign that something bigger is on the horizon. Because peace is not found in noise, it's found in strength. When you start guarding your spirit from drama, from distraction, from people who drain your energy, that's when clarity shows up. And with clarity comes vision. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop entertaining what doesn't feed your soul. That's not you giving up. That's you growing up. That's you preparing yourself for the level you're about to step into. Blessings come with weight, and peace becomes the foundation you build on. If your life is filled with chaos, you won't be able to hold what you're about to receive. A peaceful woman is a focused woman. A focused woman is a dangerous woman. She doesn't need to prove power. She walks in it. She doesn't chase approval. She moves with purpose. She doesn't announce every move. She lets the results speak. Peace takes discipline. It takes strength to walk away from what once entertained you. It takes maturity to realize that not every fight deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves your response. But once you cross into that mindset, you become untouchable. You stop moving with emotion and start moving with intention. People won't always understand it. Some might say you've changed. Good. That's the point. You're not here to stay the same. You're evolving. You're learning that silence is strategy, that solitude is sacred, that protecting your energy is more important than being liked. You know how many blessings people miss because they're too busy reacting instead of reflecting? Too busy trying to be seen instead of standing still and hearing what they truly need? A woman who protects her peace doesn't have time for petty. She doesn't chase validation. She doesn't entertain what's beneath her elevation. And you've reached that point, haven't you? That moment when you feel a shift in your soul. When the loud rooms no longer impress you. When gossip feels like poison. When being alone doesn't scare you, it strengthens you. That's not a breakdown. That's a breakthrough. That's your soul preparing for something greater. You've probably noticed it already. The people who used to call don't call anymore. The invitations stop. The noise is quieting down. At first, it might feel like rejection. But it's not rejection, it's protection. You're being separated so you can be elevated. The silence is your training ground. The solitude is where your real power is being formed. This is where your intuition sharpens. This is where your spirit grows stronger. This is where you stop surviving and start mastering yourself. And when that blessing shows up, and it will, it's not going to come into a cluttered life. It's going to land where there's order, where there's space, where there's peace. So if you're finding yourself letting go of things you once thought you couldn't live without, people, habits, environments, that's not loss. That's alignment. That's your spirit saying, make room. Make room for the peace that can't be shaken. Make room for the joy that isn't based on circumstance. Make room for the purpose that pulls you forward, not backward. This world will tell you that hustle is everything, that success means staying busy, being loud, showing up everywhere all the time. But there's a deeper truth. Real success, real blessing, it starts in peace. It starts when your mind is still enough to listen, when your heart is calm enough to discern, when your soul is steady enough to receive. A peaceful woman doesn't chase what's hers, she aligns with it. So if you've been feeling the urge to pull away from the noise, to go inward, to quiet the chaos around you, that's not you being weak. That's you being wise. That's a sign you're being prepared for something heavenly. The blessing is coming, but it needs a landing place. And peace is the runway. Don't let the world trick you into thinking you have to explain this transformation. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. You don't have to justify your silence. You're not being distant, you're being deliberate. You're not being cold. You're being cold. Cold to something greater than gossip, greater than small talk, greater than the same circles with the same cycles. Because here's the thing, when peace becomes your priority, your entire life starts to shift. You stop begging for love. You stop fighting for attention. You stop chasing people who were never meant to go where you're headed. And suddenly, you're no longer drained. You're fueled. You're focused. You're free. That's when the blessing finds you. That's when doors open without you having to knock. That's when opportunities align without you having to force. That's when people who respect your energy start appearing because you finally respect it too. So protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. Keep your circle clean, your mind still, your heart guarded, and your spirit aligned. The noise may get louder for a moment, but silence speaks louder than words. Peace doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is aligning. And when that blessing finally arrives, you'll look back and understand it wasn't the noise that got you there. It was the peace. There's a moment in every strong woman's life when she starts hearing things not with her ears, but with her spirit. It's not something you can explain to everyone. It's a quiet pull, a deep whisper, a gentle voice inside you saying, "Get ready." That's discernment. That's a divine awareness that the winds are about to shift, that something is coming, something you've been preparing for in silence, through the storms, through the heartbreak, through the growth. And the sign that a blessing is near, you're becoming more sensitive to what your spirit is telling you. You're not drawn to the same conversations anymore. You don't have the patience for surface level energy. You don't waste time in spaces that don't feed your soul. That's not attitude, that's alignment. That's your soul refusing to settle for anything less than what you were designed for. You don't need loud signs from the sky anymore. You feel the shift before it happens. You sense the intentions behind someone's words. You recognize when a door looks good but isn't for you, and you walk away not because you're scared, but because you know better now. Discernment is a spiritual muscle. And just like any other muscle, it grows through pressure, through experience, through pain. You've learned to trust it, haven't you? That quiet feeling that something isn't right, even when everything looks right on paper. That nudge that says, wait, when your mind says, go. That peace that settles in your heart when you choose the harder right over the easier wrong. That's divine. That's heavenly protection. And when you start honoring that inner voice, that's when breakthroughs begin to line up. You've walked through enough to know now every opportunity isn't a blessing. Every person smiling at you doesn't carry good intentions. Every open door isn't a green light. You've been burned before, misled, talked down to, overlooked. But now you move differently, not with paranoia, but with purpose. You know when to engage and when to walk away, when to speak and when to stay silent, when to let go and when to hold on. That's not just growth, that's grace. People might not understand it. They'll say, you've changed. You don't laugh at the same jokes. You're not as available. You don't jump into every conversation. But what they don't realize is you're not operating off emotions anymore. You're operating off insight, off intuition, off experience. You've learned that peace is more valuable than attention, that purpose is louder than popularity, that knowing who you are is more powerful than trying to prove it. You might have lost some people on this journey. That's okay. Everyone can't go where you're headed. Your path is different now. It's refined. It's intentional. And the people who are meant to walk with you will recognize your spirit. They'll honor your growth. They won't be offended by your standards. They'll rise to meet them. Because your discernment doesn't just protect you, it attracts what's real. You've noticed lately, haven't you, that when something is off, it doesn't sit right with you anymore. You don't even need evidence. You just know. You feel it. And even if you can't explain it, you trust it. That's a clear sign your spirit is in tune. That's heaven's way of guiding you before you step into something you were never meant to carry. That kind of insight is rare. It's not something you learn from a book. It's something you earn through battles most people never saw. You're being prepared because blessings don't just require hands that are open. They require hearts that are ready, minds that are wise, spirits that are alert. You're not just being gifted something, you're being trusted with it. That's why the noise had to die down. That's why you had to spend time in isolation. That's why certain connections had to end, because discernment needs silence to sharpen. It needs space to speak. And now, you're hearing clearly, feeling deeply, moving wisely. So when you feel that stirring in your soul, that quiet confirmation that something's coming, don't ignore it. Lean into it. Prepare for it. Adjust your environment. Tighten your circle. Focus your energy. Because what's coming isn't ordinary, and it's not for everyone. It's for the woman who's been listening, who's been aligning, who's been walking in obedience to her spirit, even when it didn't make sense to her surroundings. Discernment will keep you from settling. It'll stop you from accepting crumbs when you are meant for the feast. It'll hold you back from rushing into places that look good but lack substance. It'll remind you that delay isn't denial, it's protection. That unanswered prayers are sometimes the greatest gifts. That closed doors are often the loudest yes in disguise. You've come too far to ignore the voice within you now. You've been through too much to question that knowing inside you. It's there for a reason. And when you honor it, when you lean into it, you'll start to see things align, not because you forced it, but because you flowed with the rhythm of something bigger than you, something divine. So if you've been feeling a shift, sensing things differently, hearing that quiet voice more clearly, understand that's not a coincidence. That's a heavenly sign. A signal that you're on the edge of something sacred, that the blessing you've been praying for is approaching. And when it arrives, you'll know, not because someone announces it, but because your spirit will recognize it. Stay tuned in. Stay grounded. Stay faithful to that voice inside you, because it will never lead you where grace won't meet you. And when the blessing shows up, it'll feel like peace, like alignment, like everything finally makes sense. Not to the world, but to you. And that's all that matters. There comes a point in every strong woman's journey where you realize the storm didn't come to break you. It came to reveal you. That heaviness you carried, that pain you hid behind the smile, those silent nights where the tears wouldn't stop flowing. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You didn't just survive those seasons. You were being refined in them. You were being reshaped, not to be who you were before the pain, but to become the woman who could carry the weight of the blessing that's on the way. That's why everything had to feel so heavy. That's why you had to learn how to stand alone, to cry alone, to heal alone, because now that heaviness has shifted. That pain is turning into purpose. And that's not just a coincidence. That's a heavenly sign that the blessing is near. You can feel it in your bones now. There's a lightness in your step that wasn't there before. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you're no longer dragging the weight of things you were never meant to carry. You've dropped the need to be understood by everyone. You've dropped the desire to prove your worth to people who couldn't see it. You've dropped the habit of showing up for everyone else while abandoning yourself. That's the shift. That's what it looks like when your spirit starts to rise from the ashes of everything that tried to bury you. You've been through seasons where you carried pain so deep that even the people closest to you couldn't see it. But you still showed up, you still smiled, you still fought your way through days where your soul felt like it was unraveling. That kind of strength doesn't go unnoticed. That kind of faith doesn't go unrewarded. Heaven saw you when you didn't fold, when you chose grace instead of bitterness, when you chose to keep moving forward even when everything in you wanted to give up. And now the shift is happening. That heaviness is lifting, not because the problems disappeared, but because you're not the same woman you were before. You've been tested deeply, quietly, but here you are, stronger, wiser, more grounded. You know now what peace feels like because you've lived through chaos. You know the value of a quiet night because you've cried through storms. You understand the worth of your own energy because you've poured it into places that drained you. That understanding, that depth, it's evidence that your healing wasn't wasted. Your suffering wasn't in vain. It was sacred. It was transformative. And now it's turning into a blessing. Look around you. Things are shifting. And not just externally, internally. The things that used to trigger you don't even move you now. The people that once had access to you no longer hold power over your peace. The places you used to chase validation from no longer tempt you. That's not by accident. That's growth. That's you stepping into the version of yourself that was always there. She just had to be built in the fire. There's a different glow about you now. Not the kind of glow that comes from attention or approval. No, this glow comes from deep within, from the clarity that only pain can teach you, from the confidence that only solitude can instill in you, from the resilience that only heartbreak can reveal. That glow is divine. It's a sign that you've been walking through the shadows, guided by something bigger than yourself. And now, you're coming into the light. Your heart feels lighter now because you've finally made peace with what you can't control. You've forgiven what can't be undone. You've released what no longer deserves to stay. That's where real strength lives, in the release. In the decision to move forward without closure, in the choice to find joy even when the wound still aches. That kind of strength doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It just moves differently. And people notice even if they can't explain it. They feel your presence before you speak. They sense your power without you needing to prove it. And while some may wonder how you've changed so much, they'll never truly know the battles you fought just to feel this peace. They won't know about the nights you had to talk yourself out of quitting, the mornings you had to force yourself out of bed when the weight of the world felt unbearable. But you know, and heaven knows, and that's why the blessing is coming. Because you earned it. Not through perfection, but through perseverance. Not through public praise, but through private victories. You're not chasing the same things anymore. You're attracting. You're not begging for love, for respect, for recognition. You're becoming it. You've realized that everything you thought you needed from others was always inside you. And now that you're operating from that truth, you've made room for the real blessing to enter. The one that aligns with your spirit, the one that doesn't require you to shrink, to beg, to compromise. The one that feels like home. So if you feel the heaviness lifting, if you sense a new energy rising within you, don't doubt it. Don't question it. That's not luck. That's divine timing. That's the reward for all the battles you fought in silence. That's the blessing making its way to a woman who never gave up, even when she had every reason to. You've done your part. You've endured. You've grown. Now it's time for you to receive, not just anything, but the kind of blessing that fits the weight of your journey. Because when you've carried pain like a warrior, you're blessed like a queen. And that shift you feel right now, that's heaven saying, get ready, your light days are coming, your reward is on the way, and this time, you won't have to carry it alone. You've been faithful in the dark, that's the truth. And now, the light is starting to shine not just around you, but through you. After all the heartbreak, after all the silent battles, after all the times you held your head up even when your heart was falling apart, you're stepping into a new season. And the biggest sign that your blessing is near? Everything that once left you feeling broken is now becoming the very foundation you stand strong on. Your tears weren't wasted. Your silence wasn't ignored. Your struggle didn't go unseen. That weight you carried, it's transforming into wisdom now. And it's not just you rising, it's your purpose rising with you. Blessings don't always show up like bright lights and loud applause. Sometimes they show up as peace in the middle of what used to be chaos. Sometimes they show up in the form of opportunities you didn't ask for but were prepared for. You're not just attracting blessings now. You've become the kind of woman who's ready to carry them. Not in pride, not in ego, but in grace. Because you've learned what it means to be empty. You've learned what it means to be forgotten, underestimated, overlooked, and still you kept going. That resilience didn't make you cold, it made you real. And real women don't chase blessings. They live in alignment with them. Let me tell you something important. When you stop seeking validation from broken places, you start making space for divine favor. That's what's happening in your life right now. You're no longer distracted by what doesn't feed your soul. You're no longer saying yes to what drains your spirit. You're no longer molding yourself into what others want you to be. You've chosen authenticity over acceptance, and heaven always honors that because blessings are drawn to truth, not perfection. And the truth is, you finally stepped into who you were always meant to be. Not the woman trying to please everyone. Not the woman trying to be everything for everybody. No, you're the woman who's embraced her wounds, honored her worth, and let go of what was never hers to begin with. That's when the shift happens. When you stop operating from fear and start moving from faith. When you stop trying to force things and start trusting what flows. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet power within you growing, that inner voice getting louder, clearer, that peace that makes no sense but settles your soul anyway. That's what it feels like when your spirit aligns with your destiny. That's what it looks like when heaven begins to open doors no man can shut, not because you begged for it, not because you played the game, but because you endured when it would have been easier to walk away. You stayed when it would have been simpler to quit. And now the reward is making its way to you. It's not just material things. It's deeper than that. It's the restoration of everything that pain tried to steal. It's the joy that feels unshakable. It's the kind of love that doesn't come with conditions. It's the peace that meets you in the morning and walks with you through the night. It's a different kind of favor. A favor that was carved through fire and sealed in faith, a blessing that fits you now because the old you wouldn't have known how to carry it. The old you would have doubted it. The old you would have questioned whether you even deserved it. But now you've done the work. Now you've healed in places most people will never understand. Now you've become a vessel ready to receive. People will start noticing something different about you. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you hold space for yourself, it'll radiate from within. That's the anointing. That's the aftermath of choosing growth over comfort. That's the echo of every no you had to say to protect your peace. And those same people who doubted you, they'll watch you rise, not because you tried to prove anything, but because you stay true to the journey. This isn't luck. This isn't random. This is divine. This is the return for every seed you sowed when no one was clapping, every moment you prayed in silence, every second you wiped your own tears and kept moving. This is the evidence that you didn't break. You became a woman of depth, of purpose, of unshakable grace. And now, heaven is aligning things in your favor, one step at a time. So don't question the timing. Don't doubt the shift. If things feel lighter, if doors are opening, if people are being removed, trust that process. Trust that it's all part of something bigger. You're not losing anything. You're being positioned for everything that's meant for you. And when that blessing comes, and it will, you'll realize it was never about what you lost. It was always about what you were being prepared to receive. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep rising, because the most undeniable sign that your blessing is near isn't found in what you see. It's in who you've become. You are the sign. You are the testimony. And your time is not coming, it's already here. Get ready to receive it. Listen to me. If you're seeing these signs, don't doubt it, don't delay it, and don't downplay it. You're not crazy. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. And when the blessing shows up, it won't just change your life, it'll prove why you had to survive everything you did. You are a strong woman, and heaven has taken notice. Your time is not coming, it's already on the way.